see. it off. Girl, is you really down to pay the cost? Reverse the role that you can play the boss. Already know my vision is faded. I try to evade it, but can't. I know you far from insane, but I keep lying to me, cause I've been dying to meet. And it felt like I followed you out in the street, and I promise you all that I know. Everywhere that my mind goes, elevated, heart strong, but my hair faded. Way back when we first dated, I'm gone now. Had to go cause I'm on now. When my intuition got me in the mission. We see eye to eye, but you ain't in my vision, oh no. I said, oh no. Back in the day, I used to say, a girl like you, I used to pray for days for. Now I'm out here like way more. What the fuck would I stay for? Why the fuck would I pay for? Something that's just gonna kill me. Nikki, I'm still me, but I'm just better. It's been 6 months since we touched last, but I grow fast with this letter, and I swear to God that I'm better.
Blow your smoke too far, got the mirror. Write our name in hearts, baby, I can see that you're into me. I need you, touch it, I need your fever. Take my broken parts, take all of me. Take all of me. Blow your smoke too far, got the mirror. Write our name in hearts, baby, I can see that you're into me. I need you, touch it, I need your fever. Take my broken parts, take all of me. 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 Take all of me.
Good morning, everyone. What the fuck is going on? Happy to see so many of you guys back in chat. I see you, Zed. It's been a minute since you caught one of the live streams. I agree. I haven't seen you here in a minute. My real name's Vincent. I don't get the joke. What's up, boys? Hope you guys have been surviving. And let me know if the audio's okay. Trying a few new things on my end today. So let me know if my audio's okay, the background music's okay. I'll try to get, the last step of improving the stream is trying to get a higher definition on the charts. I've had a couple comments that it's like not the clearest, which I'll try to improve. We got to keep stepping up the game everywhere. Crispy audio, sick. What's up, boys? Save us. All right, let's open this up. You guys know how I do it on the Bitcoin high time frame. Just super simple plans. And you know, we're in that chop bleed liquidity game zone, and I'm kind of just avoiding Bitcoin and majors, right? There's super high EV expectation of just buying range low, with easy invalidations of losing weekly trend or buying the reclaims, right? And when you're kind of in no man's land, which is like the title of the stream, we're in no man's land with a bullish catalyst. You kind of just chill out, you know? Don't take crazy directional bets unless you're playing lower time frame rotations. Me personally, the only trade I took was on ETH recently. Like on Friday, we got the news about the ETF, I guess, like S1 filing. I don't even know the names and abbreviations of these things, but nonetheless, bullish catalyst, reminder for the market that there is a fucking ETF coming out, and you need to be active and present. So we just looked for the classic H4 compression, traded it up towards liquidity, didn't get the tag, but close enough. Evolving R of holding the position diminished. weekend move, a lot of OI open, take profits and wait for Monday. And, you know, simple game plans. If you're going to play in the liquidity zone, take your profits when they are there, because you're not in a trending market, and understand the difference between a trending market and a range bound market. And man, has CT been losing their fucking minds in the range, dude. Can we talk about that for a minute before we get into charts? About how people, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, this is the worst I've ever seen CT. I've never seen it worse than this. Like, I can't believe, let me see. Is the background music too loud on my end? I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. But from my end, I've never seen this much, like, bickering and just nonsense everywhere. A bunch of people that I respect are just completely just tuned out of CT. I don't even see them posting anymore. And the timeline's just full of shenanigans. I'm sure everyone can kind of agree on that. Yeah, the CT vibes are in complete shambles, dude. You got a new mic? I'm actually gonna get a new mic soon. I have the like standard blue Yeti something or another, the one that, like, if you Google what mic to buy for streaming, everyone's like, oh, this is affordable and good quality and yada yada, good beginner mic. So I just got that one, but I kind of want to upgrade and get one of those like sick ass mics, like the one that Joe Rogan uses on his podcast. It's a little pricier, but I feel like it'd be a good investment. It'll probably make the audio sound even better, because sometimes mine picks up like background noises, it picks up like my keyboard click clacking away and stuff like that. But yeah, outside of that, the stream quality, it's not up to par. Like, once someone mentioned it to me, I went back and watched some of the older streams, and I was like, they're right, it's not the clearest. Like, what I'm seeing is not what you guys are seeing, and I don't know if that's like my upload rate with my internet or something else. But right now I use like StreamYard, and yeah, it's been good for me, because it's like it's like kindergarten level. It's so easy to use, but I'm paying like a monthly subscription just to stream through this thing, which is really dumb. And Magus has been on my ass for like months now to like just move over to like Streamlabs and stuff, and I've just been too lazy to do it. But I need to yeah, sure, Mike, that's exactly what it's called, Adam. Exactly, that's the exact mic that I think I'm gonna get. The cheat code is muting dude. If I could pull up CT right now, I'd show you. I actually I mean, I like Ansem. I've been I followed Ansem back in like 2021. I really like the guy, to be honest. He's had so many banger calls in bull markets over the years, and he led me to Jewel and DeFi Kingdoms early on. Well, it wasn't really early, it was kind of like I got in for the Crystal Veil launch, or a couple months before that, and put that on the map. And I, you know, read some of his blog posts. He's really like research oriented and fundamentals based, puts in a lot of work. But yeah, I think like the main character syndrome's getting to him a little bit, and it's been a little annoying seeing all the stuff around surrounding him. So I've had him muted. It's nothing like personal or like against him. It's just, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of yapping. I don't really care for it. So yeah, until things get better, I just have him. I have Zoran muted. Again, nothing personal against him. It's just a lot of noise and yapping. I don't need to hear that. I don't really care. But yeah, let me catch up with chat. You guys said a lot of stuff. I want to make sure I didn't miss too many things. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. We're back. Yeah, man. I didn't really feel like streaming last week. It was, I don't know. The market's just been chopping. There's not a lot of opportunity out there. Everyone knows the catalyst. Everyone knows that they should be positioned for ETH. But the opportunities haven't been there. And I feel like, you know, until things clear up and we get better signals, you know, I didn't really have much to say last week. But if you guys missed the stream before when I had Huff on, I think that was a banger. So go back and watch that one if you feel like. Everything's timestamped in my streams, by the way. So if you missed something, you can always come back to the stream like the next day or the day after, and everything will be timestamped. So if you just want like a specific coin or something like that and don't want to watch the whole entire stream, no hard feelings, feel free to do so. Watching the stream in the bathtub, nah, please don't do that, dude. Please don't do that. What track is this? This was All of Me by Big Gigantic. I'll just type it in the chat. told my McDonald's manager to fuck off. Dude, it can't be that bad, can it? It can't be that bad. Playlist release? You know, I could do that. I could make a playlist on Spotify that like we could all probably contribute to, or at least see publicly. Not a bad idea. You're a buyer today? We'll talk about my positionings in a bit. We have a lot to cover. I think we have a lot to cover. Shorting, I'm definitely not shorting. So I can count on like two hands how many shorts I've taken since October. I'm pretty sure my long short ratio is like 99% to 1%, if not more. Literally just taken like less than 10 shorts this entire time. And a couple of them were just spot hedges. So they weren't even like real like directional shorts. But I'm pretty much long biased only. I don't think the market cycle's topped. I think Bitcoin's still in a high time frame uptrend, and until that regime changes, I'm not going to change my bias. So let's just scroll up. Let's move out to the weekly real quick. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Let's take a look at this. As long as this picture remains like this, as long as you remain above like 58K, I don't care if we wick below it or spend, you know, a minute below it. If we reclaim and we keep holding above 58K, I'm going to continue being bullish. When we lose that, I'll be a bear. It's as simple as that for me. And if you guys remember, if you remember my streams from back here, I was cautious. I was bearish. I was cautious. I thought the yearly top was in. I thought the echo bubble top was in. And I wasn't positioning here until we got reclaims. When we got reclaims and we got that fake news headline that didn't fully retrace, and we're sitting above weekly trends. We're in bullish market structure on the daily and the weekly. We reclaimed weekly trends. I was like, let's fucking go. You know, game on, risk on. Invalidations are, you know, super clear. It's time to rip, dude. Now's the time. But you know, I reserve the right to be cautious when we're below weekly trends because of how beautiful we've respected this for this entire market cycle so far. So I'm going to continue my kindergarten squiggly lines and horizontal lines as long as they keep working. Do you find the market order bubbles to make any impact on your trade decisions? Sometimes on lower time frames, yeah. You know, sometimes I pop them up on the high time frame chart. I don't even think I do. Sometimes, you know, they can give you some indication on like dailies and 3 days and stuff. I think we had one pop up on the daily at these lows. Yeah, so sometimes, very rarely, but you know, I don't. That's not a core part of the system. It's just a very nice confluence sometimes, but pretty much just reserved to lower time frames. Never really actionable in higher time frames for me. All right, I think I'm almost caught up. If you had to choose one, who would be your top CT follow currently? I think Mercury. I think Mercury does very little shit posting. He stays very objective. He hasn't gotten burnt out of posting charts and actionable analysis on CT. I think the signal to noise ratio is very low, which is something I used to pride myself on doing, but you know, it's hard for me to keep up and post charts everywhere in the clinic and in Paragon and, you know, everywhere I do it and CT and stuff like that. So I've been posting less and less on CT and just kind of vibing out more. But I'm pretty sure I'll return back to my baseline soon. But I think right now, probably Mercury. I think he's the best follow. If not Mercury, probably Huss. I think he shit posts a lot, but I think Huss provides a lot of value. Magus has been pumping out tons and tons of like educational content recently. If you guys haven't seen his threads, he's putting work on CT, educating people for free, putting out banger threads. I've been pushing him to like put out more charts again, because I think that's like the natural cycle of everyone on CT is just kind of like, after a while you kind of lose the motivation to continue updating stuff. You kind of just do your own thing. You're like, I've been here long enough, you know. Who cares about sharing stuff? I'm just gonna grind, you know, in silence. But yeah, I think Magus has been like S tier for sure over the last like 2 or 3 months, man, putting out absolute banger content. So yeah, probably those three right now. Yeah, a lot of comments. I don't really understand fundamentals in an industry characterized by financial nihilism. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I said this myself too. Like you know, I came into crypto very hopeful. I came into crypto kind of like a Bitcoin maxi, and then obviously went down the risk curve of everything. Not going to just primarily allocate to Bitcoin when there's so much more opportunity in this market. But I wanted to believe, you know, there was stuff last cycle that inspired me. DeFi inspired me. ETH inspired me. You know, having alternative like layer 1 blockchains like Solana and stuff inspired me. Like these kind of conversations were great. But when you see the tech is not really being used for anything beneficial and all we're doing is just gambling, it's kind of tough. But that hasn't, you know, shaken my conviction in Bitcoin. I'm still a Bitcoin maxi, and you know, I don't really talk about, maybe I'm not a maxi because I'm not like one of those guys that says you can only buy Bitcoin and stuff like that, but I actually believe in Bitcoin. I know that's not a popular thesis nowadays or popular take, but Bitcoin still inspires me, but it's not anything that's like revolutionary at this moment. So yeah, I can understand the nihilistic point of view on the markets. Sure. SM7B, sick, man. That's probably the one I'll get. Still blurry like last time, but yeah, man. I'll work on it. Anything macro that makes you bearish? Should we? All right. Let me body one of my favorite coins. Stuff like this, which just looks like the quintessential complacency shoulder after parabola. Stuff like this makes me look and go like, man, that looks dog shit. That looks so fucking bad. But then the objective view is we're still holding weekly trends. So, you know, at best we hold a weekly trend here. I guess the middle tier take would be that we continue holding daily range, right? We've established a very clear demand at these lows, which were respected. We've traded back into these lows. I don't know if the daily 200 is going to hold this time. It does look like we got a really nice sweep on the daily here. Let's just move in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. Right, sweep onto the daily. If this holds confluent with the daily 200, this looks okay for some reversion. But you know, on high time frame, I'm not gonna lie. Like some of these charts look dog shit, right? And they don't. I don't know. You know. I take the obvious trades that are there. You guys have heard me being super vocally bullish on render down here and just buying bags on bags on these first tests of the weeklies and getting just massive bounces, just absolutely ludicrous bounces, which, you know, helped me get to portfolio all-time highs like June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd. Like my portfolio is ripping, you know, off the Solana buys, the render buys, PEPE, ONDO, everything has been up. You know, I thought this capitulation in April and May was mega opportunity. I don't think I could have been louder about that. I think, you know, I just repeated the exact same thing 100 times on the timeline and everywhere I could, that this is opportunity. But, you know, losing daily trends and mid-range is obviously a place that you need to de-risk, right? Take profits into the pumps towards range highs, which we obviously did, and then just de-risk on daily trend loss, market structure break, you know, mid-range loss. And we'll allow this. I don't think this is going to give you the same mega burst opportunity the next time, right? First test, best test. First moves are obviously going to be the biggest ones. After that, I think this is going to enter like a chop regime. I think the most bullish case is render just keeps chopping along, holding this range, and then we'll take setups on it later. But that kind of stuff makes me kind of bearish, but not reading too much into it at the moment. Yeah. Main is a good follow. I agree, man. Main always keeps the vibes high, man. No matter what. He's always funny. He's always vibing. I love Main. Main also taught me like very early on. I think he teaches ICT and price action concepts a lot better than ICT himself. I think he has a lot of education on YouTube too. So if you haven't checked out Trader Main on YouTube, definitely do that. Will this VOD be uploaded? Yeah, man. This VOD's going to be uploaded, and I'll have timestamps. So definitely. Right after the stream finishes, you'll be able to rewatch it. Why don't we dump already if we're in no man's land? Because we can chop a lot longer than people can remain sane. Let's take a look back into this region. Look how long we chopped here between these two MAs, between the daily downtrend and the weekly uptrend. Look how long we spent chopping in this region. Compare that to current times. So we can chop a lot longer than people can stay sane. And this isn't a regime for trend traders, right? When you're in no man's land, you need to be playing liquidity. You need to be playing price action. You need to be, a take profit maximalist, not extend your targets. Don't do shit like this where it's like, I caught the sweep and the Pico bottom and I'm just going to do this and aim for 90K and, get up to 70, take no profits and just round trip your positions. You don't want to do stuff like that. Range breakouts, you have an easy invalidation for continuation. Mid-range, you're not doing that kind of stuff, right? Can you look at TON? Yeah, I'll do chart requests in a little bit. I want to get some, I guess I kind of covered some high time frame thoughts, but we're going to go over some stuff. How do you use open interest for your trades? Pretty sure you trade a lot higher time frame than the 1 minute, which Maga says, why? Yeah, so, I use contextual framework on 4-hour time frames. I love positioning on high time frame retests, like I mentioned here. But I'm not blindly just bidding, right? So like if we get a tag of the daily 100 like we did here, I don't just blindly buy the daily 100 on like perps. I just, if I'm going to buy spot, I'll buy spot. I'll average into a position on spot, which is, stuff that I did on PEPE, ONDO, the coins that I mentioned earlier. But as far as like trading intra-week, I'm not doing that, right? I'm locking in trades, or I'm locking in setups on lower time frames. Even if I'm trading the 4-hour chart, I'm still paying attention to lower time frames and minute charts. I'm still looking at OI and stuff. So I'll take you back to a trade that I took, Friday. So, this is a 4-hour trade setup, right? You got a run of a lows followed by failure to expand to the downside, and a retrace back into prior value, right? To me, this looks like a reversal signal. Call it a sweep, call it an SFP, call it a deviation. It doesn't matter what words you use. Basically, it's failing to expand, right? And it's just reclaiming this composite, which means that I believe we're going to trade to the other side. Obviously, we're in a 4-hour downtrend. So the context of this trade is trade to the other side, trade in the daily trends, and hopefully get all the way to this wick. Now, I positioned on this on Friday, and I'm well aware that it's summertime, and I'm well aware that it's, a weekend move. So I'm looking at what's happening on OI, right, on lower time frames. I'm still referring to the 5-minute charts, 3-minute charts. I'm watching all of this weekend positioning just open up and know that this is kind of unsustainable for the market that we're in. And you're kind of seeing all this OI just bleed out, right? Sunday, Monday, all of this junk is bleeding out. So I pay attention to this stuff. And I action this on lower time frames, but I still take contextual setups, form the thesis on higher time frames, lock it in the lower time frames, if that makes sense. You can use the bar replay option. Yeah, if I'm, I don't think it would have helped explain this, but yeah, absolutely, I could have done something like this if you needed it. Okay, so we're caught up with chat. Let's get into it. So plans on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's still in a 4-hour downtrend. It hasn't given like a proper sweep. It hasn't run this low. It's still in a 4-hour downtrend. If we reclaim the 4-hour downtrend, there's a very small gap fill opportunity for us to take, which is going to be hard for a lot of people to position into. I think a lot of people have a hard time buying into strength and playing continuation and making their targets very reasonable. And this doesn't even look like a very lucrative trade, which is why I said, again, we're just in this regime right here where you need to take very tight setups if you're taking them. They're not going to be trend continuation setups in the regime that we're in right now. What I would really love to see is Bitcoin just bleed out, just continue bleeding out, get to the weekly trends, maybe retrace to this last demand before we broke the bearish market structure on the daily, right? Get back into this demand, and then we can create really nice invalidations. I think this is a really good reversal point. It doesn't have to bleed out all the way here. We can literally bottom in this region, right? We can do stuff like this where we bottom here, get relief, squeeze up, unable to reclaim, unable to run these highs, and then just kind of bleed back out and get here later. These kind of moves really frustrate people in the regimes that we're in, right? Stuff like this, where we're front running, we have news absorption, we have the Iran-Israel news, we have news absorption here, we get really nice relief, we get no continuation, and then we slam into the weekly trends like a month later or a couple weeks later. Something like this can happen once again. Like there's no issue with this occurring. So once again, you know, if you're taking, you know, high time frame setups, just be aware of the region that you're in my opinion, and try to position as close to high time frame invalidations, which give you more opportunity to position at lows and get full moves versus trying to position at mid range where you really have to be active and continue monitoring your like evolving R. Okay, we're like evolving R concept, for those of you guys who don't know. Okay, I'm within, you know, a couple 100 points of my target. How much sense does it make to hold this just for the sweep? Like I mentioned, you know, here on ETH, obviously my target is the sweep. Do I care that my limit bid or my limit ask is right here and price is trading, you know, fucking $10 below it on ETH? No, I don't care. I'm just closing the position. I understand the evolving R is not on my side anymore. I don't really care. If we break above this, great, fresh setup. Now you have a breaker, right? Point of breakdown, reclaim, new invalidation, new high time frame targets, right? Just take a brand new setup. You don't need to squeeze the last bits out of every single trade because of the regime we're in. When you're in a trending environment, you don't need to do this, right? Similar to here, right? You have a point of breakdown. You slam into the weekly trends. You reclaim. You start reclaiming these values. Let's make a box here for you guys. Right? You start reclaiming these points of breakdown. You make brand new invalidations. You take profits on liquidity sweeps. You play trend continuation. And this is the moment in the regime when you're holding 4-hour trends, you're breaking above range highs. These are the regimes where you can just play trend continuation. You don't have to do much. You just continue riding the wave. That's not the regime we're in. And I just want to hammer that home. That's why I labeled this stream. We have a bullish catalyst, but we're in no man's land. Everyone knows that we should be allocating to ETH. Everyone knows it's an ETF. Everyone knows that, you know, the ETF for Bitcoin did a lot for the market. Why wouldn't ETH do the same? The problem with ETH is that the kind of uncertainty that we had prior on the go live date, when is the Ethereum ETF actually going to go live? That's question number one. Question number two is, will there be outflows by Grayscale, putting a lot of downwards pressure on the market the same way that Bitcoin did when it went live, right? Bitcoin went live for the first few weeks. All we saw was downside pressure from Grayscale selling. That got absorbed, obviously, by the other ETFs going live. And then you have a surplus of inflows to carry you upwards. Is ETH going to get the same thing? All of this uncertainty is really what's causing the market to chop around, right? So I continue to be long biased. I continue to be bullish on Ethereum. I think it's the easiest trade in the market. I don't see many narratives outside of this one. And if we want to talk about beta plays, the most obvious beneficiaries of Ethereum being strong is probably going to be its leading meme coin, which is PEPE, and the RWA narrative, which ties so closely to Ethereum, you know, being that BlackRock has the what is it called? The RWA fund. I forget what it's called. The tokenization fund on Ethereum. You know, ONDO is the BlackRock coin. So I think ONDO is going to do very well. And we can probably just pivot over to ONDO right now. You know, ONDO's in its own no man's land, right? Between the daily downtrend, underneath the daily trend and above the weekly trend, right? Demand, trend confluence. This is a really nice area to position if ONDO continues to get bonked, right? If we come back up when we bearishly retest, you know, this prior support, confluent with the daily or the 4-hour downtrend, confluent with the daily trend, you get bonked here, right? You can be looking for bids in this region. Or, you know, the other scenario, this entire thing turns into a deviation. You reclaim this range, you get a really nice trade back into the next supply, right? So simple plans. You know, I'm not a guy that's going to take a lot of trades in no man's land. I didn't catch the trade this morning. I'm long nothing off this morning. I actually woke up a little late. I had a hard time sleeping last night, and the luxury of doing what we do is we don't have fixed hours. So I actually slept into like 7:30 today, which is kind of wild for me. But yeah, missed kind of some of the triggers this morning. Wasn't really active. But yeah, simple plans, right? Maybe we get another push down, make this low your invalidation, continue to trade it upwards, take profits at the obvious regions, daily trend, 4-hour trend, prior supports. Could be another prong trade here if this pulls back just a little bit. Build, yeah, the build fund. Yeah, that's the ONDO fund, right? The build fund, 100%. But with the high FDV, is it a still good RR? That's a question I've been asking myself a lot as someone that allocated heavily to ONDO way back, right? The first time I bought ONDO, shout out PC Principal, who will probably never watch the stream, but nonetheless, the fucking legend, who put ONDO on the map for me before listing. He was just tweeting it out in public and got me to look into it. And I was like, okay, you know what? Whenever the listing comes, I'm just going to literally buy the listing. And I bought it at 5:30 in the morning, my time, like 15 minutes or something after it got listed. And as my conviction grew, I just continued adding in the 20s, right? And we've, you know, ridden this entire wave, added on these pukes. But the higher ONDO gets and the higher the FDV gets, the less sense it makes for me to be max allocated ONDO, because like you said, the FDV, I think the FDV is going to get, you know, up here at these highs. I think it was like 15 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what the all-time high was on FDV at these highs. But for me, that seemed like a good place to de-risk and lock in some profits, which is exactly what I did. And you know, I think from here, ONDO is going to be a beneficiary of the trade. I think what's beautiful is the correction that it's having, which gives you opportunity once again to take trades back towards the highs. How much is it going to expand? I've heard targets like $10, $20. I don't believe that. I don't think that's rational for a target. As far as FDV goes, I don't see ONDO going to like 100 billion FDV. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not bullish enough. But I just don't see it. I think the evolving R of holding this position past a certain point doesn't make any sense, but doesn't mean that we can't still be bullish when it's in the spotlight, right? RW is in the spotlight. ETH is in the spotlight. ONDO's in the spotlight. BlackRock is in the spotlight. Don't fade the easy trades just because of FDV, and recognize that a pullback like this is opportunity, right? If I get the opportunity to bid here, you're goddamn right, I'm going to buy ONDO at 90 cents and $1 if I get that opportunity. 7:30 is wild, man. Yeah, I know, dude. I usually wake up at like 5:30, 6. I usually wake up before New York Open, but I slept in late today. I'm finally getting better sleep, man. Like the last like 6-8 months, man, like the average sleep has been trash. It's been maybe 6 hours, 5 hours, something like that. So getting 7-8 hours a night nowadays is feeling really good. Feels like bullish news isn't being reflected in price, which is quite concerning to me. I agree. And what I'd like to say to that, you know, is I think it was just the uncertainty around the actual go live date on Ethereum. Of course, good news, not creating good price action, not seeing spot bids, seeing these moves completely OI led is not the healthiest thing in the world. But I think the difference between the Bitcoin ETF and the ETH ETF is with Bitcoin, we had such defined established dates. We found out that the last day for approval was in January. We knew that. That was kind of like a fact. And we had, you know, ETF analysts telling us it was a 99% or something approval rating, right? And BlackRock's never been denied on an ETF. We had so much certainty. The market had so much confidence and certainty in that trade, which is not there for ETH until I believe recently, right? We now have like a rough estimate of when it's going to go live, which I think creates new opportunity positioning. And I'm looking at this as the bias point, right? You know, whatever, 3,400, 3,300. And if ETH gives us another opportunity to bid, maybe this sweep into the weekly, I think this is where you're going to see ETH bottom and you're going to see a move upwards. I think this is where we're going to get, it doesn't have to happen, obviously, but I think there's more certainty and more confidence in the market, which is what markets love. Markets love confidence. They don't love uncertainty, right? And I think this was uncertainty and the price reflected that. That's my opinions on that. Everyone also anticipating large outflows on ETHE. I think that's keeping people from really aping. I'm not too concerned about that because I think what follows is bullish nonetheless. Like, I'll talk about my positioning now. I've just been taking, I'm just rotating profits into ETH. When I take profits on PEPE, ONDO, Solana, with any bags, Render, Prime, any bags that I'm in, all those spot bangers that I got in April and May, all of those profits are just being rotated into spot ETH. Right. And I'm looking to reposition in ONDO, probably reposition in PEPE when there's more clarity. But, you know, I think ETH is just the brain dead play. And I'm kind of price agnostic at this moment. I just look at all of this as opportunity from a spot perspective, just to, you know, understand that rally will come. You know, if I had to give the probabilities of an ETH approval, ETH flows not creating a risk on environment for Ethereum and the market in general, I would probably price that at less than 5% odds. So I'm positioning for that. That's, you know, that's the loss I'm willing to take. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just think it's the easy play, and I think people are discounting it. I think, you know, people are too concerned about what's going on with their alts. They're outside of the spotlight, they're outside of the rotation, and they're too concerned with what's going on with those altcoins. And they're kind of projecting that bias onto majors, which, like I said, like I don't think Bitcoin looks bad at all on the weekly time frame. I think it looks completely fine on the weekly time frame, and I think you have very clear high time frame invalidations. It being the kind of seasonality of summer chopping around, we saw the exact same thing last summer, which, by the way, like, you know, I talked about, again, very vocal, very loud on the timeline when we're like up here, right? Basically saying, if this happens, are you going to be prepared for it? Did you take enough profits? Are you in bags that you have high conviction in? You know, just proposing these questions to people, and, you know, risking off myself, right? Building up a lot of cash and giving myself the opportunity to buy these lows, buy the next weekly trend tag. And I think a lot of people didn't do that, which is why they're in such a negative mindset right now. Just, you know, it's very hard. Like you guys have seen, it's very hard to take profits into rips. But if you know, someone said this in the Paragon chat the other day when I was doing a Paragon stream, and it was such a good quote. It's like, if you don't TP into strength, you're forced to TP into weakness, right? If you don't continue holding on to your edge and playing your advantage, you have to play into the market, which is not something anyone wants to do. Any thoughts on Solana price action and potential targets this cycle? Yeah, we'll get into Solana. Folks calling for Solana top being in. I don't believe that. And ENS. So yeah, let's do Solana. So, okay, these are notes that I was giving a friend the other day. We're going to start off with a weekly. All right. So the weekly on Solana looks remarkably similar to last cycle's summer Solana top. It did almost the exact same price action where it just went flat at the top. It nuked into weekly trends. It put in a lower high and it bled back out into weekly trends. It's almost a perfect fractal. It's literally almost a perfect fractal. So again, high time frame Solana invalidation is very simple. Drop back into this consolidation, lose weekly trends, lose mid-range. It's going to look like dog shit. Make a lower low. It's going to look like absolute dog shit. Am I going to be bearish Solana here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I think Solana is going to make new all-time highs? Yes. The problem that everyone's focusing on, or the thing everyone's focusing on with Solana right now, is all the Solana-centric top signals. The guy doing the shitcoin music video, the cringe shitcoin music video, silly to a Billy, crazy top signal, right? The racist meta on Solana on-chain, crazy top signal. You know, the whiff sphere top signal. What else? The girls doing the Real Housewives of Solana, filming a show where girls are in, like, I don't even know what they're doing, but I saw that on the feed. That's disgusting, right? So Solana is frothy. I think Solana's on-chain is going to continue to die off for a little bit. I think pumps are going to be smaller and smaller. You're not going to see on-chain coins continue to rip. Obviously, like the mother and father coins, that's crazy. But again, like, we can brush that off, right? As long as Solana just continues holding these weekly trends, I think Solana is going to be fine. I think maybe some of the opportunities in Solana shitcoin land are probably not going to perform that well. Like, coins on Solana are used to getting to 10 million, 10 million market cap, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. Like, they just run up. I think what you'll see people doing on chain on Solana is just starting to jeet. Like, it'll get up to 5-10 mil, they'll take profits, right? So I think the opportunity in Solana shitcoin land will probably go down. And I think the best case for people that want to bet on beta is just continue to bet on whiff. I think whiff is obviously, championed this cycle. Whatever your thoughts on whiff, doesn't really matter. I think it's a winner. I think its chart looks better than stuff like BONK. And I can just kind of compare this. Like, whiff had one parabolic move. It's in a range. I know this doesn't look fantastic, but it's in a range, and I'd love to buy range low. I'd love to buy this sweep of this low if it comes. You know, if not, and we're just going to continue holding these lows, that's fine too. But we'll see what we get, right? Just, you know, I have game plans for myself here. If we do get these, if we get bonked at the daily trend here, I would love to buy range low or range low deviation. Stuff like bonk, I don't think looks as good, right? Why? Bonk had 3 separate super risk on rallies that did not expand, right? Expansion, retrace, that's fine. Totally healthy. Reaccumulation, that's fine. You want to see expansion and new value held. You never want to see the second move of a parabolic move completely retrace and not find any new value, not able to establish any new norm for the bottom, but have to be forced to retrace all the way back to prior accumulation. And then it did it again. So I don't think, you know, as far as bonk goes, it looks as good as WIF. Simply, I mean, you can make the argument that WIF is just younger and it could do this down the line too. But, you know, this is the way that I see WIF. This is your accumulation. This is your markup. This is WIF establishing new value. So I would rather bet on WIF putting in a much higher high the next time around versus betting on something like bonk. And I know these are just, you know, the 2 premier Solana meme coins, but those are my thoughts on that. Take a quick sip of water. How much money before I can call quits to my job? That depends on where you live. That depends on your job. That depends on your expenses, how much debt you're in, stuff like that, man. I know you're asking a meme question, but I'm still going to give you a logical answer. Waka Flocka calling for Sol all-time high. You know, it's really tough to distinguish what is like a disgusting top signal and what is just bull market shenanigans, because the saying that everyone is a genius in a bull market is there for a reason. Like that saying is there for an absolute reason, and that's there because everyone does look like a genius in a bull market. Waka Flocka can come back in a couple months or whatever when Solana's at all-time highs and just start clout claiming and being like, I'm the best, I told you it's going to all-time high, and he'll look like a genius. So, you know, everyone looks smart in a bull market. It's very hard to distinguish you know, moronic people from calling higher versus, you know, just people calling for targets. I do think Solana is going to all-time high. Am I going to change my bias because some other lunatic is calling for all-time high? No. Will I get bearish if Solana's at all-time highs and at my target? Let's say this is the, well, I'll just go to Solana. Why am I being lazy? Right? Let's say Solana is trading up here. Let's say Solana is trading up here, right? And now people are calling for $1,000 Solana. That's a different story. That's people raising targets. That's people, you know, being super frothy. Our things are already in price discovery. Why not aim for the clear, you know, clean $1,000 target? That's a top signal to me. I don't think it's a top signal when people are looking at this and being like, oh, we're just going to trade to range highs. Even if you're a range bound trader, I'm sure you're still looking at the exact same bias, right? Even if you're not trading trends and you're just looking at a range, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in here are probably just looking for the same thing, just playing towards highs. So, yeah. Are you going to open your Discord in the near future? So, you know what I said I was going to do? I said next time Bitcoin hits all-time highs, I'll open up the clinic. And I changed my mind. So what I actually did, and sorry, but I reserve the right to do this. When we got to the lows, I opened it right here because I basically wanted to reward people that are sticking around through the hard times and not just coming into markets, you know, looking for alpha, looking to copy trade people at the highs. I don't want those people in my Discord. I want people that are here in the bad times, right? I want the people that are sticking around. I think they're going to actually end up providing more value. They have better character than other people. So I just, you know, tweeted out the night before. I was like, I'm going to open it up for 12 hours tomorrow. And I tweeted out in the clinic Twitter handle and I retweeted on my Twitter handle. So I think like 300 people joined during that time. I don't think many of them are active, so I don't know if it was a good decision. I think maybe like 5 or 10 of them are active. Most of the people are just lurking. So yeah, probably no what do you call it? No reason or, you know, no plans to open up the Discord anytime soon. But if you want more thoughts from me, you can always feel free to join Paragon. Very active in there. That's where I'm spending 90% of my time nowadays, is with Magus and Charlie and Paragon. Really strong vibes, lot of like go-getters, man. I love people that come in there and ask me questions. People like pick my brain like crazy. Like, I love it, dude. I love people that are just like super hungry to learn, asking me why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that. And conversing with those people is a lot more fulfilling to me than people coming in and just being like, up or down, are my bags okay? What are your thoughts on this target? You know, I think that's not that much fun for me. $400 to $500 seems reasonable. Yeah, I think so. Unironically, 420 is probably a good target. Yeah, it's different, Anchor. It's different. Helping out Miles with his Discord too. But like, you know, home base is Paragon. All right, let's move on from there. One thing I want to talk about was the Sol ETH chart. There's a lot of people calling cycle top on Sol ETH, and what I'll say is there's no reason Sol ETH can't make new all-time highs, but what we have to understand is that the unbelievable rally that it's had, holding weekly trends, marking up towards range highs, is probably dead for the time being. I don't think there's going to be outsized, completely one-sided Solana bid versus Ethereum for the rest of the cycle. I think you will have a moment where Solana does outperform again, probably you know, runs towards these highs, if not at least gets back towards these highs. But I look at this more of like a range if this breaks down. Obviously, we're still holding the daily 200, but the fact that, you know, there's a low, here's your lower high, and now we're kind of establishing a lower low. To me, this does look like the first time on high time frame on the weekly you're getting trend reversal. You'll probably get Ethereum outperformance. ETH is in the spotlight. I don't see any reason why Solana needs to outperform at this moment. Solana has, I mean, Ethereum has the bid, it has the narrative, it has a mind share. So I could see this retracing down to here, down to 35 once again, but it doesn't mean that it has to retrace down to zero. It can always pump at a later time. But when you break weekly trends, when you break high time frame trends, at worst, you're getting trend reversal, and at best, you're forming a range, right? It's kind of like what Bitcoin did last cycle. Lose weekly trends, you just kind of end up forming a range, right? Continue holding weekly trends, you can continue marking up. That's a very simple way that I look at or use weekly trends. So, you know, I know Huff, who came on the last stream, he talked about being bearish Sol ETH, and he was short Sol ETH. So he's been hitting bangers. I think he's short Sol ETH and Sol Bitcoin. So if you guys didn't know, quick plug, because Pair is the channel sponsor, they sponsor the streams. I think they're the best protocol as far as like trading on chain, and I think they're the only protocol where you can trade like exotic pair trades. Like you could trade a whiff against a Pepe. You could long Pepe, short whiff. I don't know where else you could do that on cross margin too. So, you know, the next question comes, why don't you just do that on Bybit or whatever? Well, if you do it on Bybit, you have to take two separate directional trades. And when you're doing it on Pair, you're basically using cross margin. So you're just taking the value of the winner, right? You're basically playing, what do you call it? I'm describing this poorly. You're basically extracting the value of the difference in the two prices, and you're betting on outperformance versus taking directional bets. So even though like both of these coins could be chopping around, as long as ETH continues outperforming Solana, either it doesn't drop as much, right? So say both of these are in downtrends, but you're long Ethereum and you're short Solana, and both of them are going down, but Ethereum's going down less, you're making money, right? So you're basically just betting on outperformance. And I think it's a really good way to do that. And if you want to check out Pair, there's a link in the description box below. So do that. But quick shout and congrats to Huff for nailing this trade. I think he's absolutely crushing the Pair trades right now, dude. Let's look at Sol BTC. Sol BTC looks better than Sol ETH in my opinion, because you have such a really nice established level to work off of. And even if, like I said, even if this trend breaks down and Sol Bitcoin comes down to these levels, I would still look at this as opportunity on Solana to play this back eye, right? But for now, being in no man's land, I'm not going to take a positional trade on this. Absolutely not. Like, that's not for me. But I would rather long Sol, short Bitcoin if it gets down to these values. Similarly for ETH, or where's the Sol ETH chart, right? Similarly, if Sol ETH came down to these levels, I would take a Sol long and ETH short, because I'd be betting on Solana outperformance. At the very least, probably a bearish retest of this trend if this is going to completely reverse to zero, which I don't believe is going to happen. I put that probability really, really low. But at best, you're probably going to make another move towards these highs, if not all-time highs, because this just becomes a range then, right? There's your range high, there's your range low. And you don't focus too much on the trends. Description box is empty. Man, I am not on my game. One sec, I can fix that for you guys. So since we're live, I'm just going to put this in here. Hopefully that looks okay on the YouTube front. And if not, let's see if I can edit this quickly. Okay, it should be in the description box now. Let me know if you see it. Maybe you need a refresh. But it should work now. All right. I kind of gave all the thoughts I want to give. PEPE plans. Okay, let's do PEPE plans quickly. And then I want to move on to getting some of your guys' questions. You guys ask really good questions sometimes. They're really fun to answer. Especially when you're not just asking like, hey, look at this chart. Like, I love answering people that are like really curious on markets. But I just drew out like a simple game plan. If we're continuing to hold prior range highs right here, confluent with this demand, right, and front running the daily 100, I think this looks fine to me. I think you can get relief, probably target this liquidity into the point of breakdown. And something like this, if it were to occur down the line, in my opinion, would be the best trade on PEPE, right? Deviating below, reclaiming this level, and then just fucking send and target brand new highs, right? If something like this were to play out down the line where we run these lows, maybe we even hang out in this region, we'd put in an accumulation like this, it's probably confluent with the weekly trends. I think this gives you a really nice opportunity to position for the next all-time high run. Getting back to your Sol memes, I have spot position in both WIF and BONK. Is it better to swap BONK to more WIF? I can't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your positions, but me personally, I would like, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not buying any BONK, and I'm looking forward to buying more WIF. If WIF gets to these levels, I would love to buy more WIF. I think there's a legitimate argument to buy these lows right here, exactly where we're at, you know, but I'm being greedy at the moment. And the thing with me is I'm always comfortable buying into strength. I think that's the, you know, because I'm a trend trader, and I love buying into strength. I have ways to, you know, tighten up invalidations in an uptrend. So if I don't get these bids and this just continues ranging, I'll play the range breakout down the line. You know, I'll be happy to play the range breakout. I just don't want to do too much business right here. I would rather wait and be patient and get hopeful. And maybe I get this fill, maybe I don't. Doesn't have to happen. But if I do, I would love to buy more WIF here. I have zero plans to buy BONK. Even if BONK puts another 2 or 3x, I think WIF outperforms it. I think WIF has a better opportunity and better chance. I think it's a legitimately funny meme. Like, I don't think BONK is a funny meme. I think BONK is just a, you know, another derivative of Doge. I don't like SHIB. I don't really like Doge. I think it's like a boomer meme coin. And I think BONK is one of the most uninspiring memes you could see. And tied to the fact that like I think a bunch of the supply is like owned by like VCs and stuff. I don't even think it's a proper community meme coin. I think it's like a VC coin. They have like unlocks and stuff. That's dog shit. What about Injective? I kind of hate Injective. I talked about this publicly. I tweeted out my thoughts on Injective. Let's see if I still have them here. Yeah. So the way that I'm looking at Injective, let me put it on logs. It's easier to visualize. This is Injective, right? Ever since the market cycle bottom, ever since the FTX lows, Injective was one of the strongest coins in the market, continuing to respect the weekly trends. And last summer, Injective was one of the strongest coins in the market. While other alts were bleeding out, Injective continued to hold its weekly trends and it continued to make higher lows, right? It made a higher low while so many alts made lower lows, and even Bitcoin made lower lows. Even Bitcoin on the second half of last summer, right, ran this low, right? It ran this low. It made lower lows. It retreated. INJ did not do that. INJ made higher lows. It was so strong. And when the kind of floodgates opened and you know, resistance was removed, it was the strongest performer in the market. INJ was a monster. INJ and Caspa were my two core positions going into Q4, right? Because those were the strongest coins in the summertime market, right? Relative strength against the market. And this thing absolutely outperformed. What did it do? It distributed, it ran these highs, it dropped back into value. Like, look at all this value built. 2-3 months of value being built, running the highs, retracing back into value, and just had no bid at the weekly trends. I don't like this. I think INJ for the rest of the cycle is going to be an underperformer. I think at best, and I have this as a squiggly here, or I should. Yeah, I think at best you get this. So this is my view on INJ. Kind of a contrarian view. I don't think INJ is going to do much. At the very, very best on INJ, you're just getting a nominally higher high. Right, you're just going to run this wick and drop back inside and retrace the whole pump. This is my view on INJ. So, you know, yeah, I don't think it's even a good trade. Like, let's say you bought here at 22, right? Let's say you bought here at 22 and you say, Doc's stupid. We're going to $100, we're going to $150, and you don't take profits up here and you wait for confirmation and it drops back into range. And maybe you're just like, okay, this is a deviation, and it drops back in and you sell at 45. What did you get? You got a 2x on your spot. I think there's much better opportunities out there, even if you play it this way. So that's the way I look at these charts. Can you also look at APU? Yeah, sure. So I've been buying back some of my APU as it traded back to range lows. I'm not doing too much like charting on APU other than just like, okay, this low is holding. All right, fair enough. Let me buy these lows. I took one trade on this. I don't know if I posted it on CT, but I talked about this on Paragon. But yeah, I talked about this. Yeah. And then just repositioning slowly on spot at these lows. Not really caring because, you know, I've caught a lot of these moves on APU so far, thankfully. You know, like the 20x after the dev rugged was like a banger. And, you know, just compounding that win, maintaining exposure to APU. I look at this as the number 2 frog coin in the market. If I believe that Pepe is going to flip SHIB, which I do, then I think the biggest beneficiary of that and the best no-brainer beta play is going to be APU. So I'm not too concerned with price action. I don't really care what this does. I'm just kind of looking at this and being like, under 200 mil seems like a steal. I think it goes to a bill. I think it makes a top 100 performance or a top 100 appearance at least one time this cycle. So I'm just looking at APU like that. Technically, DOGE looks like shit, except it's holding last support, but the DOGE to $1 narrative and previous cycle makes me feel like it's still decent buy for higher thoughts. Yeah, let's look at DOGE. I haven't looked at DOGE in a while. Yeah, I mean, as long as it continues to hold weekly trends and all of these lows, it's fine. Right? Continue holding weekly trends. We've already established people buying 12, 12, 12 like a bunch of times. If they continue holding these lows, it looks fine. You start trading underneath this and retracing this expansion, it's just going to fully retrace. right? We start holding below the weekly trends and trading into this fair value gap, I think it's just fully retraces. But for now, it looks okay. I'm going to do the same thing with Doge that I did last time and allow the market to do the work for me, right? I didn't position on Doge on the first test of the weekly trend here because I didn't have conviction in it. I allowed the market to do this for me for like 5, 6, 7 weeks, and I just positioned later. I was like, okay, the market has established support here. Let me make this bigger for you guys. I always forget. The market has established support here. I'm just going to buy into this, make this my invalidation, lose weekly trends, lose this SR, and I'll get out. And we'll just aim for liquidity. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't sell the Pico top of this. I sold the run of this wick, and then I compounded one time. I got a retrace into daily trends, right? Got a retrace into daily trends and took one more trade on Doge. And that's really, really it for me. I didn't sell the top of this, by the way. Full transparency. I sold like into here. It wasn't even that great of a trade. Because like I said, some bags I just don't have high conviction in. The bags that I have super high conviction in, I'm willing to eat drawdown on those. The bags that I have no conviction in, I will never care about eating drawdown. I'll just be like, okay, it wasn't a great trade. Cut that position. I'll reposition later. So what am I doing? Just allowing the market to, you know, you do the work. I'll pay attention later. I don't think Doge is going to be the fastest horse off the line either, right? Doge has never been the fastest horse off the line. This move on Doge happened so late. When was this? February 26th. February 26th, man. That the market had been hot since October, and this move happened, you know, February 26th. So there's always time to position on Doge if you're bullish Doge. Pepe flips Doge, Apu flips Shib. I think Pepe flips Shib and Apu flips BOM, which is 700 or 800 million market cap. In an extreme environment, I could see it flipping like Floki. But yeah, my targets for Apu are pretty rational. I just think it's a brain dead play now at this time. And, you know, I'll be more than happy on a liquid 5x or 6x or something like that on Apu. Yeah, I'd appreciate it, guys, if you could hit the like button. I don't ask often, but it'd be awesome if you could hit the like button. I'm actually pretty ambitious in growing the YouTube channel. I would love if the YouTube channel could grow. I think, you know, for the simple reason, I don't think there's a lot of good value on YouTube. I think a lot of the crypto content on YouTube outside of a few guys is pretty dog shit. I'd say like less than 10 people have quality crypto streams, educational content on YouTube. And I'd love to continue to grow this avenue. I don't really care much about growing the Twitter, to be honest. If I stayed at 20K forever, that's fine with me. I don't really have any ambition at ever growing the Twitter account, but I'd love to grow the YouTube. So if you could hit the like button, it'd probably help out the channel, help more people see it. If ETH pumps next week or two back to range highs going into the July 2nd ETF launch, lost it. Where'd it go? We probably slow bleed all of July, giving us even longer summer chop. That's a decent take. So you're saying if we pump on ETH here, which, wow, what a reclaim. Loving this move right now. Great move on ETH so far. Right into the daily trend, which kind of sucks. But if you get a pullback this lows your invalidation, you could probably play it towards liquidity, if not higher. What I would love to do is what I talked about earlier in stream. You break, I defend, take out this pointer breakdown, trade above this. I'll position here, shallow pullback, we'll aim for the highs. I think that's a much better banger trade for me versus trying to position in here. I can always just size up higher with it, cleaner, easier invalidation with an event. And I don't even need that big of a pullback. Any shallow pullback's fine for me. Just like ass blast through this level, man. Put in a fucking god candle through this level, and I'll play the continuation, and we'll play it towards liquidity. But yeah, like Zed said, if ETH gets canned and we kind of just take out the yearly high into the event, and ETF goes live, and BlackRock, or not BlackRock, Grayscale starts selling, and there's outflows, and this continues ranging, that's fine too, right? That's completely fine too. If it comes back here, we test the weekly trend, we can go later. Totally fine. Good take, Zed. Unironically, Doc squiggles look prophetic again. Which squiggles? Tesla? Tesla. You really want to look at Tesla? We'll look at Tesla in a minute. What EMAs, MAs do you use? I use only EMAs, the 4 hourly 100, the 4 hourly 200, the daily 100, the daily 200. Those are the ones you see on your chart right now. Can you look at ORN if not done already? Getting a rebrand to Lumia soon and looks better than most of other alts. All right, let's quickly do Tesla, and then kind of curious what you're talking about on ORN. All right, so Tesla trading back to supports. I have these really old squiggles here, basically saying take out the high that led to the low, right? Form bullish market structure, play into the pullback, play continuation. Maybe you can take out all three of these wicks, right? This is good bottoming structure though. This is really good bottoming structure on Tesla. All right. I can look at ORN if it's on TradingView. I'm not going to pull up Deck Screener for anything this stream. This looks okay. This looks not bad. This is a nice accumulation, right? This is like that same concept I just talked about in Doge. Let the market do it for you and then just play into what the market's already done. So the market's already held the weekly trends for quite some time. You didn't have to do any of this work. You can position into this. You can make your invalidation weekly trend loss. You can tighten it up on the 4 hour. You can, tighten it up on the 1 hour if you want to, and play trend continuation. Obviously de-risk right here, right? Take this trade. If it gets bonked, whatever, if we blast through it, look to play trend continuation, all-time highs or whatever. All right. Yeah. You guys asked about TON before. I'll do TON quickly. Okay. Once again, old squiggles continue to play out. Yeah. On TON, all you want to see is you do not want TON to trade back into this value. That's it. This is it. This is the tightest thing you could say. This is fine. Tagging the weekly trend or the daily trend would be fine. I would love if this continues to front run. Perfect retests suck. I hate perfect retests. If we get, if this is it, this is totally fine, right? If you're looking for TON to just put in crazy moves to 12, you're basically making your invalidation dropping back in here and you're looking for this trade. I don't know how to value TON. I don't watch TON. I don't trade TON. This is probably because someone asked me on a prior stream to look at TON. This is not a trade that I took. But yeah, nonetheless played out, right? Demand, daily trend, very clean, bread and butter, liquidity. There's your trade. Retrace, daily trend once again, breaking through the resistance level. You need to hold this. You cannot lose this. You absolutely cannot lose this. So I think you have a very clean invalidation for a trend continuation here. Oh, I missed this one. What are your current thoughts on Prime? Yeah, I cut it. I cut it as soon as the daily 200 was traded below. What do you think about AVAX? Dog shit, dude. I'm not even gonna look at the chart. It's doing nothing. It's proving nothing. It has no mind share. It has no narrative. It's beta to Solana. If you're bullish AVAX, you might as well buy Solana. There's no point in having AVAX on your chart. Current thoughts on Caspa. The problem with Caspa is that it's just range bound and it's failing to break out of this range. It's doing the bonk thing, right? It's doing the thing that I talked about on bonk. If you missed what I said about bonk, go back on the stream. And if you don't feel like doing that, come back tomorrow when there's timestamps. But basically it's doing the bonk thing where it's failing to expand outside of value. The trends look fine. It looks okay. It's not getting that expansion yet. Who knows? Maybe I'm jinxing it right now. And right here's the bottom and Caspa makes all-time highs. From a trend perspective, it looks totally fine. It looks totally fine. And it actually doesn't look bad here because you have a really easy invalidation. Lose daily trends, lose this prior range high, and you probably get a move like this again. Continue holding this, you probably get moved higher. All right, I'm trying to get caught up with chat. I apologize if I missed your question. I'm just going to try to go through this real quick. Is there an argument to say that 59 to 64K BTC goes out the window with continued strength of NASDAQ and SPX? I don't think you could completely throw it out because let me take you back to last summer. During this regime, I believe that SPX and NASDAQ were still strong. And I think NASDAQ and SPX started having their correction during this Bitcoin chop regime, right? So let's go back to these dates. Yeah. So this was strong April, May, June into July, topped August 1st. So ES was strong all the way into August 1st, and then ES had its own correction. You know, we can't rule out eventually ES having a correction as well. There's a little mini pullback, but a proper correction, you know, 5, 10, 8%, you can never rule it out. And that would obviously, you know, bring Bitcoin back to those range lows. So I don't think you can continue. You can just easily throw it out the window. You just got to pay attention. Where's August 1st on here? So this is where ES topped, right? Bitcoin was already crabbing around, is already in a downtrend. It already made that move back to range highs. This is that top on ES, and this is what followed, right? The ES correction occurred, Bitcoin puked, right? So who's to say the same thing can't happen again? No clue, no idea. I wouldn't bet on it personally. I'm not, you know, being like this has to happen or whatnot. But you can't. I don't think you can just throw it out the window. Smash like first time on your stream, and it's very valuable. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Anush. I'm inspired to AME a dog shit crypto YouTube. What's AME? Oh, make. I see you corrected. Yeah. Do it, bro. Do it. I love YouTube. I love streaming. Hey, Doc, how do you handle cases when price is chopping around an EMA? Yeah, flat EMAs don't give you any value, right? So if an EMA does this and just rounds out, right, and price is doing one of these things, and then eventually price trades below it, it's just giving you no value. It's just telling you you're not in a trend. You're not in a trend. You're not looking to play this retest and play it up. You're not looking to play this retest and play it down, because what you're doing is basically diddling in the middle. This is your range high, this is your range low, and you're trying to position off a flat EMA within a range that there's no value to that. The value is when these curl back up again and you use them once again. Happy to see you in here, Nexus. I love when you drop by. Hoping BNB hits your targets, dude. Make you probably one of the richest people in the world too. Crypto equities up crypto equities up while crypto itself chops, basically running. Yeah, dude, we're literally running back last summer's playbook to a T. It's actually mind blowing, even with sentiment, with catalyst, with on-chain shenanigans, with top signals, with everything. Everything has related last summer. And bro, I don't know, you know, like I just had this thought that this could happen, and you know, I didn't mean to manifest it, but yeah. Looking up the tweet. Too large, classic. Get ready for dog shit quality on the screenshot. I don't know where the screenshot went. Okay, like I said, I have a new stream set up, so screw it. Can't even fund clout claim. Screw it. I agree, your stuff is good. The rest of dog shit, even Miles stuff is being crap. I appreciate the love, Melanie. DMT has one of the cleanest charts. Tesla's 2021 coin. Can you look at WOJAK? Is WOJAK on here? I think it is. Yeah, so you guys know I'm bullish WOJAK. The reason I'm bullish WOJAK is a meme we use every day. You don't really need a cult to, shill this coin. You see it in your timeline literally every day, right? It shills itself. It's one of the most recognizable memes in like internet culture, right? I think it looks fantastic. I think it's going to trade a lot higher. The only thing right now with WOJAK is that it looks like it's struggling with the daily trends, right? Just hanging on by a thread. I'm bullish as long as this continues to hold. If we start holding below this, I'll probably de-risk my bag, look to rebuy prior range highs confluent with the weekly trend. Otherwise, you know, if I cut into this chop and it reclaims, I'll just buy it back higher. I have no problem with my risk tolerance doing stuff like that. I will not accept like a 30% bleed, you know. I don't want to do that. So I've been watching this one closely. Again, the quote that I told you guys earlier in the stream, if you do not TP into strength, you're forced to TP into weakness. what I did is, even though I'm bullish on this, I recognize that this is a monster move, right? This is a 4x move in a recent, like a very short amount of time. And me capturing this 4x move, I don't want to disrespect my money. I need to lock some of this in. So even though I'm bullish on these higher highs, I'm still locking in profits and giving myself the opportunity to say, well, you know, if this breaks down, I have more cash to buy. Now I have more WOJAK coins for the next time it gets to my target. Or at the very least, you know, I've taken some profits and it goes to zero. At least I captured some of this move, right? So, you know, manage your risk into strength so you don't have to worry too much about managing it into the lows. What are your views for Rune and Near? No real views, man. I don't really care about those coins. One thing I'll say about Rune, the only alpha I'll give you on Rune, is it does really well right before the market goes risk on. I've seen this a few times now. It's something I pay attention to. It's kind of like a leading indicator. Whenever I see that, you know, Bitcoin and ETH are ready to pump, and I'm talking about on a high time frame, on a cyclical basis, on a weekly chart basis, not on like a 4-hour chart or anything like that, not intra-week. But when Rune is like at supports and it starts showing strength, nothing's perfect, but it has been a really good indicator of, you know, continued strength in the market. So Dusk lost trends, but playing it as a range and beta to ONDO, yeah. Beta plays tend to fully retrace, man. Do you have any thoughts about Tensor dumping so hard? Not really. I think it's back to range lows. Oh wow, took out the lows. Actually, that's kind of good. So, I mean, it's just back at range lows. This is just a range to me, right? These circled areas is where I removed risk. You guys heard me being vocally bullish on the timeline about Tensor, buying spot down here, de-risk into the listing VWAP, de-risk on this breakout. Hope to play trend continuation, did not get that. I tried repositioning here with the confluence of the daily trends and the listing VWAP. I got nothing from this, and then just closed the entire bag on the daily trend break using lower time frames to lock this in, and just, you know, close and reposition and buying back to range lows. I bought a little early. I bought into this chop a few days ago, but I'm not really worried about it because, like I said, locked in a banger trade, and we just run it back, and we're hopefully continue holding this 70-cent range low, and we probably get another good trade back towards range highs, if not at least range mid. So I'm not too concerned. This has to hold. Don't take the trade. Yeah, actually, some value in that for sure. I'm trying to catch up, man. I'm so behind on chat. I'm in clinic and watching this like real clinic. Sam, get to work, bro. You got prostate exams to do. Can't be watching streams in clinic. Has he done Pepe and ONDO? Yeah, briefly. I did it towards the beginning of the stream, Sam. If you don't, like I keep saying, if you don't want to go back and look and try to find it, just come back tomorrow, and it'll be timestamped, so you don't have to like click through everything. IBIT. Okay, sure. This looks interesting. So what I have here is just a listing VWAP with the value area high, value area low. So trading back into the actual VWAP confluent with the H4 not a bad place to position and getting a reaction off that. Now, whether we, you know, wick below this and actually perfectly tag the VWAP or whatnot, is you know, anyone's guess. The easy trade on this is what I like to do always. This is your high. This is your value area high, your range high. You break, I defend. You put in a breakout candle like this, I buy the shallow pullback. I make my invalidation dropping back into range, and we look to play a trend. We look to play a monster trend because we look at all of this as value. Value being built, the floodgates opening. We play with the winners. We look for recruits to come in to add to the fire, add to the strength, and we look to play the trend. Other than that, we don't diddle in the middle. We look to position on high time frame retests like the listing VWAP or the H4 So yeah, not a bad place this morning where you're getting the reaction on IBIT. Let's go, Nexus. Love the confluence. I'm gonna take a second, dude. I feel like I've been talking for an hour and a half straight without pausing. I need a sip of water. Alrighty. What have you guys been doing so far this summer, the last month? Are you guys trading actively, looking to spot position, making game plans, or are you just not even fucking with crypto at the moment? Not trading, just kind of like spot and chill, waiting for the next opportunity, waiting for the next risk on phase. Curious what everyone else has been doing. Me personally, for the first time in a while, I've been actually grinding games, dude. I've actually been gaming. I know it's like a meme in the gaming community that Destiny 2 is not like the best game ever, but I fucking love that game, and I always go back to it when they have these big like yearly expansions. So I've been playing Final Shape, which has been fucking sick. So much fun. Gotta give a shout out to the D2. Doesn't he realize that this is the Bitcoin chart? He was bullish on it, but bearish on the BTC chart. I'm literally saying the same thing for both charts, my man. I'm literally saying the exact same thing for both charts. What did I say for Bitcoin? Look at the notes on here, brother. What is this? Bullish on reclaim, bullish at lows. What's IBIT? What did I just say? Bullish above here, bullish down here. Don't really care for the in-between. Literally the exact same thing. TP'd end of May, now looking to buy. Sick. Yeah, I think there's good opportunities. I think for the patient people, like I said, I'm not in the market cycle top camp. I'm not in the ridiculous 44K Bitcoin camp. I've mentioned so many times my view on Bitcoin. If you lose that range high and you lose weekly trends, this cycle's probably fucked. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't care about being greedy and buying these lows. I don't want to see this happen. I want to see Bitcoin continue to maintain high time frame strength. Bullish on this market, just think it's crabbing around. And I think better opportunities in a more risk-on market is coming. I don't think you can fade the ETH ETF. I think it's the most brain-dead, easy play in the market right now. And I think the market's doing the best it can to shake people's conviction in that play. And I think there's really good opportunities coming in the market. And like I said, I just keep positioning into spot ETH, taking profits from the bangers that I got on PEPE. You know, buying this daily 100 tag, being very loud on the timeline in April and laughing at bears at these lows and buying these bags and getting like a 3x. Same thing with ONDO on this capitulation wick. Same thing with Solana on these wicks. Same thing with Render, which I bought. Right. And rotating these profits as it, you know, as we got that clarity around the ETH ETF approval. We didn't know that it was going to get approved. Like the odds were what, 20%, 30%. All of a sudden these guys go, oh my God, it's fucking, like 100%. And, lucky for me, this is complete sheer blind luck. Some of those profits just coincided with buying down here. And I even posted this setup when we were reclaiming, breaking the market structure on the daily, reclaiming daily trends and saying, let's fucking go. And I completely lucked into this trade. And I did not capture this full move on purpose. I TP'd this swing high, right? So I did not capture this full move. I'm not going to LARP and say that I caught this full move. I had my limits set and I was like, what the fuck? How did I hit my target? What just happened? Then I looked at the headlines, but very fortunate to have bought some ETH down here by rotating profits into ETH. So I continue to do that. I'm just, taking the easy trade, positioning the ETH. Feel like this is the most brain dead play on the market right now. And I just look at it as opportunity. What's your plan for selling Render? I sold on the daily trend break. I talked about this earlier, Melanie, if you missed earlier in the stream. So like I keep saying and repeating, everything will be timestamped tomorrow if you want to come back and look at that. But basically TPing into strength, understanding my target is range high, and looking at the evolving R and being like, I should remove some risk. I got these lows. I bought here. I bought here again, doubled down on this position. recognizing that this is massive, massive opportunity after this correction, back into range lows, back into demand, back into weekly trends, and taking profits into the pump towards range high, giving this a lot of time to breathe, just giving it so much time to breathe and being like, I can't take profits at support, I can't take profits in a daily trend. And when this wick happened, obviously it was underwater for a little bit, but just close the position fully here, right? So instead of closing it at $10, I closed it at like $9.50 or $9.60 or something like that. And, you know, talked about old render already. I'm not in a rush to rebuy render just because I'm not super bullish on AI at this moment, just because AI's had its time in the spotlight like 3 times already this cycle. We've had 3 really strong AI narratives, and I think people are kind of exhausted on the AI narrative. And I think either we need newer coins that look better that we can trade at the moment, instead of worrying about coins that look like this. Like if I just take off the weekly trend, does this not look like the most just textbook complacency shoulder of all time? I'm not saying this is going to play out, right? The objective view is you're still holding weekly trends and you're still holding, you know, this daily range low. So I'm not super bearish on this, but I think there's better opportunities in the market elsewhere. Like I said, PEPE and ONDO being the primary probably beneficiaries of the ETH ETF going live. I think these are going to be the 2 strongest coins. And like I said, giving you guys the example on INJ and Caspa last summer, INJ and Caspa were the 2 strongest coins in last summer's chop market. And what are the 2 strongest coins right now in this summer's chop market? PEPE and ONDO. And they have the bonus beneficiary of the ETH ETF flows. And I think they're going to probably do the best. Let's go, Lau. Saw my ETH tweet, acted on it. Let's fucking go, dude. That was a banger. Hopefully you didn't have limits set like me at 3,400 or whatever, and caught that full move. That was unbelievable. Have a look at JASMY. All right, sure. Oh yeah, this is strong. Good call, man. You know why I don't sometimes when I hear these like eclectic tickers, I'm just like, man, people always give me like piss poor requests sometimes, and I'm like uninspired to do it, but this looks okay. This looks okay. Yeah. Okay, so the way that I look at this, long consolidation, you don't even need to draw the range low. You guys can see that. Long consolidation, big breakout, retrace, no perfect retest. I love that. No perfect retest. Held the daily trends, probably broke market structure now in the 4-hour. It did, right? Here's your high that led to this low. This high was taken out. There's your break in market structure on the 4-hour. Here's your higher low, confluent with the daily trends. This looks pretty good to continue upwards. Looks pretty good to continue upwards. I wouldn't buy the top of this candle personally, but yeah, looks pretty good. Looks healthy. This is definitely like momentum waning, you know, wearing off on the higher time frame, holding the daily trend as support, breaking market structure in the 4-hour. Looks really solid from all contexts, high time frame down to low time frame. Solid, man. Good shout. Maybe I'll just throw this on the watch list. Why not? Yes, I do. We do weekly streams, Melanie, and market outlooks, and obviously just available for question and answer all the time. What are your thoughts on DOG, the Bitcoin meme coin? Man, we're getting into the shitters. It doesn't look bad. Pretty much the same thing, right? Big expansion, holding daily trends, probably broke structure on the 4-hour. It looks pretty okay. Right, the high that led to this low, traded above, higher high, higher low, daily trends holding, does not look bad. Again, good shout. I don't think this looks bad at all. If this is the right ticker. This does not look bad. OGY, nothing good to say about this coin if I got the right ticker. Yeah, if this is the right ticker nexus, I mean, it's just macro accumulation, I guess. Nothing great to say about this one. Tau, yeah, I think Tau is cooked. I got asked a lot about why I wasn't buying Tau versus Render, and I basically said I have zero conviction in Tau, and I would do the same Dogecoin thing, allow the market to prove me wrong, hold this level, and I'll position later. I'll buy higher, and look at what it's done. It's lost the weekly trend. It's lost this range low. I think if we come out to the daily, yeah, so here's your demand, and basically just trading through it, holding the weekly trend as resistance. It looks dog shit. Wouldn't buy this until it reclaimed. I mean, this is a monster. Someone told me about NPC on a stream like down here somewhere, and I did not. I just faded. I was like, I think WOJAK's better. Boy, was I wrong. Banger. I think the uptrend that it was in up till this point has been exhausted, and I would wait for a reaccumulation to form. Either it's going to look like this and form a high time frame range. That's A, right? Either it's going to do this, or it's going to retreat lower and form an accumulation range down here. The only thing that you're looking for is for a new value to be built relative to this one. So this is a lot of value building. You just need to see this build on a higher basis. If it comes down to here, I would say this is fucked. I would never buy this coin again, other than maybe a one-time trade for a lower high. Thanks, Mari. Have a good one. Are you mogging? Mog. Yeah, so you can see squiggles from the last stream. Basically, this is how I drew it out, right? I'm sure, you know, Mog was right here. I was saying above range high, need to hold the daily trend, need to hold range high, establish value here, and then continue upwards. If you lose the daily trend, you cut the position. Basically, you can make a two-pronged invalidation. You know, you don't have to wait for daily trend loss. You can basically say we dropped back into the prior range high, which is already bearish in and of itself. But now holding weekly trends, not bad. Again, if you're bullish Mog, you want to see it do this for a long time. You need to see new value built higher than the last one. You spent so much time accruing, accumulating here. The worst thing in the world is for Mog to go here, because then this chart's fucking cooked. With the ETF being the only narrative, me thinks PEPE and ONDO lead, and then maybe rotation to whiff and fake SOL ETF narrative towards the end of the cycle. That's not a bad shout, man. You know, one of the things that Solana could get, I don't know if it will, but it could get a futures ETF that usually precedes spot ETFs. So like, I think Ethereum got a futures ETF last cycle, if I'm not mistaken. Bitcoin got a futures ETF. I actually don't know. So you guys are gonna have to correct me. There's like CME futures, right, first, and then kind of a futures ETF, and then the spot ETF. So maybe there's rumblings about CME futures on Solana, and that could be a narrative for Solana. I don't think it's going to be a spot ETF narrative. Yeah, Destiny, we did Solana earlier in the stream. No problem, no problem. Can you have a look at AKT and Popcat? AKT was a banger trade for me. Absolute banger for so long, but it does not look good. It does not look good, right? It did a complacency shoulder and it lost weekly trends. This is not a bag that I want to hold. And I did not sell the top on AKT. I sold into this pump really early. Did not capture this complacency shoulder at all. Yeah, I think this is cooked. I think you're coming down lower. Yeah, I think this is cooked. This is just, again, showing you the market's willingness to bid AI at the moment. I think AI might be, I mean, I don't want to say this early, but I really do have the gut feel that AI is kind of cooked for the rest of the cycle. I think you need new AI coins to bid. If new AI coins come out like IO, I think they'll do well, right? I think IO has a better opportunity to do well, you know, versus like Render, right? So the classic Magus big booty accumulation, don't want to teach his alpha here, but classically listing pump, and then big accumulation, and then another pump down the line. So, you know, IO could do something like this, where it bleeds out, puts in accumulation, and this is the trade that I'd rather take down the line as far as AI goes versus render and stuff like that. So this is something I'll be watching for down the line. Sorry, Magus. You got any minor exposure? I had CLSK because Philippe was so bullish on it. I bought it at like $6. I bought it at this retest right here, and sold when this started looking like distribution. Like, I think I sold here. I think I sold like here because it accumulated, it pumped, it failed. I did not, you know, action this soon enough. I kind of just sold it into like 17 or something like that. I haven't bought it back. So at the moment, I don't have minor exposure. I have just a lot of coin exposure. I have a fuck ton of coin exposure. I think like my boomer portfolio is 80% allocated to coin, 20% in cash. And that 20% is just reserved for coin calls down the line. I'll probably buy calls on coin at some point. I have some that I bought leaps down here at the ETH ETF sell the news. So when the the Bitcoin ETF sell the news. So I bought leaps for 2025, I think like September. I don't know if that's the right date, actually. I think it's September down here, and I'm just holding those. But I'd like to buy probably like shorter dated calls and gamble if we get a risk on season at some point. So can we do coin? Look at that. I just did coin. Yeah, I think Pendle looks fucked. I do think Pendle looks a little fucked. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. Let's go to the daily. See, these are the charts that I hate, man. I think so many charts look like this, but I mean, I can't be. It's a two-pronged thing. From a cyclical like bias, right? It looks like a complacency shoulder, right? If you're doing the classic parabola meme, it looks like a complacency shoulder. From a trend perspective, we have not lost weekly trends yet. So what I say is, you're probably going to do something like this where you just form a range, right? I think the trend that led you up to $4 to $7 is probably like done for. And what's going to happen is you just trade this as a range for now. And if you want to play continuation, you just play the breakout continuation down the line. Because yeah, and you know what people always ask me, people that say, Doc, you shouldn't buy breakouts. Well, I know what my invalidation is. I always understand that this could be a deviation, right? And that's my risk to reward, right? It's the same as taking a trade down here. It's the exact same thing as taking a trade down here. It's just being like, okay, that's my risk, that's my reward. The only difference is when you're in a range-bound environment, you have to worry about there's resistance here, there's supply here, this is mid-range, this is range high. When you're in price discovery and you're breaking out of a range, you have such a nice opportunity to just continue playing this. Let it fucking rip, dude. Let it rip. Wait for trends to break down or wait for just like absolute insanity parabola and take profits into that. That's why I prefer taking these trades. The risk is the same. Wow, just joined. Stream looks shit. What happened to the stream quality? I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I'm sorry it looks so bad. I've been noticing it too. I'm sorry about that. I think, you know, one of two things could be. It could be the streaming software that I use, which is like a online service, or it could be like my upload speeds on my Wi-Fi. But like whenever I do like Wi-Fi diagnostics, it always looks fucking great. But I'll have to change the way that I like stream, like the avenue that I stream through soon. I don't use OBS. I need to swap to OBS, man. I need to swap to OBS. Yeah, I know it's a bit blurry. I know it doesn't look dog shit, but I know like when you look at the tickers, like the names on the tickers here look a little blurry. Like I understand that. Yeah. Like I think if you read the tickers, they look kind of like eh. But yeah. Do you still hold SMH? I don't. I don't even think I can pull this up on. Oh, you can? What is that about? Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't hold SMH anymore. Yeah, I just took profits on that. I got in super early I didn't sell when it pumped to $7, and I ended up selling like, I don't know, 250 or something. I still locked in like 12x on it. And I just looked at that as like, I have too many bags. For me, like the reason I did that was to consolidate bets. When you get these smaller wins, like 10x's, 5x's, whatever, it helps you build a lot of cash, right? And I just look at that and I go, I can get more value now instead of like betting on this specific coin to perform. You know, betting on this coin, betting on this fundamentals, following narratives on this coin, following catalysts. If I have just too many coins, I get overwhelmed. So I just like, you know, trimmed fat on my portfolio, took profits where I needed to back in. I did this for most of my coins in March. I did this for like 90% of my coins in March. The reason I didn't do it for SMH during that time is the friction. Like I had it in a like node wallet, which takes like forever to sync. And I was just way too lazy to sync that wallet, man. It was just so, I was like, it's going to take like over a day to sync. And I just kept putting it off. And that cost me some dime. Got him. Your profile pic is blurry too. What's weird is I looked at your older streams and it looked a lot better. So I'm using the same thing. We've had some problems with my internet at my house recently, with just like connection speeds being dog shit. So it could be like they're throttling our internet. It could be something like that. I'm actually going to be moving soon in the next couple months across the country. So I'll have a whole new Wi-Fi setup. But until then, I think we're gonna have to deal with some of the blurriness. I'll try going to OBS, but I have a concern that it's just the upload speed on my Wi-Fi. Like I said, when I run diagnostics, it's fine. But yeah, it hasn't been great. Targets for PEPE or flipping SHIB. I am completely price agnostic. I just want to see the market cap be flipped. I will be satisfied, and that'll be my thesis complete. Whenever that occurs, I don't care about what price PEPE is at, and I'm not looking for the Doge flipping. If I miss the SHIB to Doge flipping, I can live with that. Might be the bit rate. I don't know what bit rate even means, bro. That's how dumb I am when it comes to this stuff. I want to buy ONDO at the daily 100 or long it on a reclaim. I either want to buy ONDO down here at the daily 100 confluent with this demand, or if this turns out to be a reclaim. This would be a long, this would be a spot buy. The panic. Yeah, this is the real SMH, isn't it? Why didn't I just buy this? Why did I listen to Sam and buy the other SMH? Should have bought this shitcoin. Actually, I think our SMH outperformed. Okay. I think our SMH outperformed. Yeah, never mind. Take it back, Sam. Thank you so much for giving me that trade once again. Is Crown cooked? All right, guys, last questions, and then we're going to wrap up the stream. Give me some good questions. And don't do a chart request unless it's a banger, dude. We don't need a bad vibe. We don't need to have bad vibes at the end of the stream. Give me some banger charts if you think they're bangers. Otherwise, just ask some questions. Favorite TV show? Tough one, dude. I think I was in the normie. I was actually kind of early to Game of Thrones, but I fell in love with Game of Thrones in season 2. That was my favorite show. Man, what am I watching right now? What I'm watching right now is that Apple TV show called Dark Matter. I really fucking like that show. If you haven't checked it out, watch that. I'm pumped for Severance season 2 to come back. I think that's gonna be a banger. I don't really know. I can't really remember. I don't think I've watched that much TV recently. You know, unironically, one of my favorite shows of all time is Attack on Titan. I know it's an anime, but I think the story arc, start to finish, was fucking perfect. I think it was a great start to end show. House of Dragon just started. Yeah, dude. I'm kind of pumped for that. The House of Dragon grew on me hella, dude. I was not feeling it for the first like 3 episodes. And then I think the last 4 episodes, I got hella into it. So I'm kind of excited to rewatch that. My girlfriend's at a bachelorette party right now. When she comes home, we'll watch it. Do you like hiking? Yeah, man. I actually go to Yosemite. I'm doxing myself here, but I go to Yosemite a lot. We haven't gone this summer yet, but I need to go when my girlfriend gets back in town. Love hiking. The Boys, yeah, dude. The Boys is great. The Boys never let us down. You know, like that's a rare show where each season, in my opinion, got better than the last, and that's very hard to do in TV. Is to continue getting better season over season. Usually, like seasons have like a big fall off moment, but yeah, The Boys has been consistently great. Demon Slayer is fire. I agree, dude. I'm watching the new arc. Demon Slayer is great. It's kind of funny because anytime I watch that, my girlfriend will watch me watching that, and she's like, "This show makes no sense to me. It looks like it's made for like kindergartners at points, and then it gets like extremely violent and gruesome at other points." I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It looks like it's like a preschool show at sometimes, and then it looks like it's like the most vile show at other times." Oilers or Panthers for Stanley Cup, dude? I don't watch soccer. I don't watch hockey. Sorry, not soccer. I don't watch hockey. But I like the name Panthers more, so Panthers. Yeah, man. House of Dragon surprised me. I think the benefit of going in with low expectations is you leave yourself room to be surprised. I think that's a much more enjoyable experience when you go into something kind of negative, but like open-minded, but you're like, this is gonna suck, and then it like pleasantly surprises you. Versus going into something with just massively hyped expectations, and you're just like, this is gonna be the best thing ever, and then all you're doing is leaving yourself room to be let down, because anything that like less than perfection is just gonna put you in a sour mood. Get some lower time frame. Let's see what's happening on Bitcoin today. We pumped during the stream, dude. The stream saved Bitcoin. Where did I start? I started streaming literally at this candle. Let's go, dude. Doc stream saves the market. All right, boys. We've been going for 2 hours. We'll call it there. I appreciate you guys all for joining. Thank you for spending your Monday with me. If you guys wanna spend more time with me, check out Paragon. There'll be a link in the description box below. Give a shout out to our stream sponsors in Pair. In my opinion, the best pair trading platform. That's an unbiased view, by the way. I'm not just saying that because they're sponsoring the stream. Literally the best pair trading protocol in crypto, in my opinion. And obviously check out Woo because they're the best as well. So all those links will be in the description box below. Hope you guys have a banger rest of the week, and let us play that jam on the way out.
It all. Ain't no way I can break it off. Girl, is you really down to pay the cost? Reverse the role that you can play the boss. Already knowing my vision is faded. I try to evade it but can't. I know you far from insane, but I keep lying to me, cause I've been dying to meet, and it feel like I follow you out in the street, and I promise you all that I know. Everywhere that my mind goes, elevated, heart strong but my hair faded. Way back when we first dated, I'm gone now. Had to go cause I'm on now. When my intuition got me in the mission, we see eye to eye, but you ain't in my vision. Oh no, I said oh no. Back in the day, I used to say, a girl like you I used to pray for days for. more. Now I'm out here like way more. What the fuck would I stay for? Why the fuck would I pay for something that's just gonna kill me? Nikki, I'm still me, but I'm just better. It's been 6 months since we touched last, but I grow fast with this letter, and I swear to God that I'm better.
Blow your smoke to